what's the politically correct way to call it now? We're putting Red River Rivalry on the brand. So let's start it there. Going to Dallas, Cotton Bowl. JP, there's a lot of things to break down. I more so want to hear the Oklahoma side, but get us started, please.
Yeah, you want to hear the Oklahoma side, or you want to talk Oklahoma side, I guess is what you're...
I could hear both. I want to hear your perspective.
I want to talk Texas here. I'll start there. For me, this is a big one because Quinn's going to be back, right? Like, what does this team now look like with him back, and not necessarily just dipping his toes back into the water? He's going back into a game in which last year they wish they would have had. There is a real thought here that Texas is the best team in the country and seems to be one of the few elites. Now, again, they haven't really been challenged. They've played a ULM team who's been good. They've played a Colorado State team, Mississippi State, some others, not really challenged in any spot quite yet. And now we're looking at the Michigan win. Like, yeah, that makes sense if, Texas is this elite brand and elite football team here in 24. For me, it's going to be a ton of how good can the, Texas defense be again, like against an offense who's still trying to find their way, against a young quarterback in this spot who's not as highly touted as a Caleb Williams that came in there and wrecked the game for him, a Dylan Gabriel a season ago. There's a real opportunity for Texas to just let Oklahoma know, like, we are better than you. We understand that we have the better matchup on the defensive front against your offensive line. We have better DBs. We have better athletes everywhere, and we're just going to suffocate you in this spot. So I think there's a real shot that Texas can show up and bow up and just be disgusting to this Oklahoma offense. Now, there obviously is that caveat where this game gets weird and you never know what's going to happen, right? So that'll be an interesting part for me. The offensive side of things, I think Ewers and his connections with the receivers, I think, have proven to be lethal in a lot of ways with Bond and other guys around the outside. The Oklahoma defense is good. Like, I don't really want to just brush over that and act like this is just going to be some easy get back rolling on the right foot for Texas. There's a real shot here that Ewers struggles at the start against a team that's really fast and found a good way to keep themselves in a lot of games. So I'm excited to see what Quinn does. I think he's obviously the best quarterback on the roster. I think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the country, underrated, unnecessary hate the kid gets just because of the name that's behind him. And I think this team's at their best when Quinn's at the wheel. So I'm excited to see what they do. I really want to see this running game get going. Obviously, with the differences and losing guys before the season started and star power in that position from a season ago, there's a real who's up next. And I think they've kind of found a guy and gotten a little bit by committee on other times. So I'm pumped to see that. And so Texas, I think, has a real shot to prove that they are worth the 14-point line they're given right now, and that they're worth some of the number one overall rankings that they've been given through AP polls in different spots.
We're kind of generous. I think I have seen 14.5 everywhere. I have not seen a 14. So if we get a 14, if we get a 14 for our picks, I'll be pretty excited. That being said, Reese, what's the blueprint for Oklahoma to stay in this fight? This game kind of reminds me of the Texas-Michigan matchup earlier in the season, where Texas is going against a really good defense, but kind of an inept offense at this point.
Yeah, I mean, it's not an Oklahoma team that we're accustomed to. Like this, we're usually thinking of a high-flying offensive team that's going to score a lot of points and give up a lot of points, but it's kind of the inverse this year. Offensively, they haven't been what they wanted to be. Arnold struggled. The reason why he's not playing. You have Hawkins playing now too. If they want to try to win this ball game, they're going to have to slow it down. They're going to have to make it ugly, because if you give Texas multiple opportunities, that offense has so many weapons. JB just talked about him, and Ewers is coming back. Not to mention, too, Ewers is a guy who he's played in big games. Not saying this isn't a big game, but he's played in big games. He's been in a college football semifinal. He went on the road to Tuscaloosa and won that football game. So you want to lean that guy compared to, your quarterback who's starting in his third game, third or second game for this team. So there's that factor. It's the biggest game he's played in. This is just another weekend for old Quinn, just coming off an injury too. So like I said, Oklahoma's got to slow this thing down and make it ugly. That's one reason why I think they can maybe keep within this number. If you get 14.5, I think they keep within that. The hook makes it nasty, but Oklahoma's just got to do a lot of things right, because that defense has been solid. I think they haven't allowed more than 25, and also one bonus point they did face Nico Miliava, who really struggled last week, but he's one of the better quarterbacks in this country too. So they've seen a better quarterback, than I think this Texas defense has seen so far.
Yeah, I think we're going to need an all-time performance from the Oklahoma defense in this one. And it's kind of funny, right? What would an Oklahoma fan do right now to have Dylan Gabriel being the starting quarterback in this game? If they probably wouldn't have backed that up a couple of weeks ago when they thought they had Jackson Arnold, now the Hawkins kid.
Yep.
But they're going to have to do what they got. And something to note, Texas is first in 4.4 yards per completion on defense. So Oklahoma, we already know they're banged up at receiver. They already don't throw the ball very well. And now you're going up against what statistically is the best passing defense in all of college football. So Hawkins is going to have his plate full on Saturday. Do you know, JP, is there an injury report on Oklahoma's receivers? Like, is Anderson going to play? Farouk? Like, do you have any idea? Does anybody know?
I haven't heard too much on it, honestly. And I was just actually looking through some things on news. I'm not exactly sure what day Oklahoma does their pressers for updates on that stuff. And so I haven't seen too much on it. And so it's a little worrisome.
I haven't heard anything as far as anybody being available, but let's go to it. Prediction time. I can get us started just because Parks was nice enough to give us 14 on the graphic. If I'm getting 14, fellas, it's Texas. Would I be scared with the hook? Not really. But like I said, this reminds me a lot of the Michigan game. Mm-hmm. And I just don't know. Like Oklahoma's defense could have an all-time performance, and Texas is still going to get 28, 31 points in my mind, like they did in Ann Arbor. And what was Michigan able to do? Score 6 points. There's some better athletes on that Oklahoma offense, but it ain't much. It ain't much. Yep. So I'm taking Texas, and I think Texas revenge game clean. JP, what do you think?
This game will forever be like, if you get a number this big, just go the other way. Do we remember a couple years ago when Oklahoma was playing their third or fourth string quarterback and that number got up there and that was just a slaughtering? I think that was the one year people were like, okay, maybe this is the year we don't. I'm hesitant to take Texas here just because of the number and how crazy this game's been in the past, but I'll take Texas here as well. I think, I just think there's too much for Oklahoma to overcome. They'll have their moments, but for them to stay around on this thing the whole time, something weird's going to have to happen for the second year in a row.
I lean Parks will take Texas. So that leaves you it's up to you, Reese. Are we going clean sweep here? Do you take the Longhorns?
I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna take Texas. I'll go the other way for you guys. I'm gonna go Oklahoma.
There he is.
There he is.
If you get the hook, I like it a little bit more. Even 14, I think you might get a push because the lower ranked team in this situation, this would be Oklahoma, has won 5 of the last 11 matchups. So like this is also one too where was it OU's linebacker last year got a horns down tattooed on his thigh. Like this is a game that guys in both of these programs, like this is one of the games you have circled on your schedule year in, year out. I think it's going to have a huge factor. I think Brett Venebles, they're going to have a game plan. How well they can execute it, I'm not sure, but I'm just leaning on this is going to be a massive rivalry game, and they're going to be fired up for this game. And that offense is just going to slow it down. They're not going to throw it that much because if they're going to give Texas multiple opportunities, then I think they can break it open a little bit more. But I think you're going to slow it down, know what their game plan is, and they're just going to try not to deviate from it to give them more opportunities. So I'll take Oklahoma to cover. Texas is going to win, but Oklahoma's going to cover.
That's a great point. And I think, this is I think we can all agree it's top 3 biggest rivalries in college football. So to lay that many points, I don't.
It was my 1-1 draft.
The JD Pickle guy, Pickle.
Yeah, what
he said that he basically tweeted out that this game has always felt like an SEC game, and putting the SEC sticker on it just made it the greatest rivalry in college football. I was like, brother, this game was good before it had. Like, you think it's just a sticker? Like, do you think the same about the Ohio State Michigan game? Because if you do, you're crazy. Like, just because a sticker's on the side of someone's helmet or on a jersey on a patch, like it doesn't make the game bigger. Yep. I just disagree.
I completely agree, but it should be a good one in Dallas. That's Texas and Oklahoma. And also follow us at Play the Fight Pod to see all of our ATS boards that we post every week. I'm in the lead, but it ain't by much. Parks is making a comeback. I think JP, you're above 500.
I think Reese, you got three games back of you guys or so.
I'm not.
Yeah. Reese, you just need a hot weekend. Anything can happen. We're putting
struggle
10
bus
games
over here, brother.
Putting 10 games up on the board this weekend, so anything can happen. Reese goes a 9-1 weekend.